Beat 500, get into the wild card.
86 got the Phillies all the way to the World
I
Series.
hate to break it to you, man. I don't think it was your vision.
Tipo un caballo.
This podcast is perfectly named, I would say.
I hate to make excuses for Sandy and the rest of the
No,
pitcher
you don't. You've been doing it all year.
I do hate it. I'm just gonna say it.
And fucking hitting bombs to fucking Calle Ocho. Like,
Inject that into my veins.
If that continues, there's no way we make the playoffs.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
It is June 1st, 2023. The Miami Marlins are one game over 500, and I'm kind of feeling like we got a chance at the division. I know everybody's going to say I'm crazy, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we do, as always, I am rocking, because this is how I'm feeling, a 1997 Miami Marlins, or Florida Marlins championship hat.
You get it right.
The Heat are in the finals, Stanley Cup finals for the Panthers, and the Marlins are looking pretty good. How are you doing, Spazzy?
doing all right. I am wearing the only Miami Heat attire that I have, which is for some reason a beanie. So I'm wearing.
Aren't you hot under there?
Well, bald as hell, so I'm all right. But I am rocking the old school.
Ooh.
Look at that, Major League Baseball with the black Marlins. So we're doing all right in that department.
Speaking of which, I'm sure you guys are excited for Sunday when we get some free jerseys when we go to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. So you have the option of the
No, you don't have the option. It's a mystery bag, supposedly.
Yep.
Right. So it's the black and the teal, and I'm hoping I get the black, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I like the teal. But you know what? I'm bringing my two kids, and they better get some jerseys also. I don't care if it's oversized. I bought 4 tickets. Give me 4 jerseys.
I agree.
How you doing, Callie?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of watching the Heat game kind of adjacently here because, shout out to the South Florida sports, Miami Heat, the Florida Ice Cats in their respective finals. June is going to absolutely assault my watching schedule because it feels like it's every night that we got something going on.
Every night almost.
Yeah. So it's exciting. Fun time to be a South Florida sports fan. Heat are hanging in there with the Nuggets right now. It's the beginning of the second quarter still. But as far as my hat today, I'm an idiot. I should have worn one of my Panthers or Heat hat to represent. But I've got the stars and stripes on my head today. Team USA. I've been lucky enough to once upon a time do some stuff for them. For like their 16U and 15U programs.
Nice.
Yeah, lucky enough to play in their tournaments and stuff like that. So my high school coach won a gold medal with Team USA while I was playing. So a lot of connections. I don't go hard for Team USA in a lot of things, but for baseball they've kind of won me over. So rocking the old school stars. The new logo's a little more updated than this. This is from 2013, 14-ish. So, yeah.
You have been very patriotic this week, I will say.
It's if you know me, that's very out of character for me because I'm not necessarily a patriotic person per se, and I'll just keep it at that. But yes, with Memorial Day, I did wear a Team USA hat on Monday, and for soccer, the U.S. national team hat, and also U.S. women's national team glasses that I have.
There you go.
And then for today, I was just looking for a hat. I grabbed the Stars and Stripes. Should have grabbed my Panthers hat because it's sick. Maybe I'll switch it when I have a moment to go grab it.
Well, talking about Memorial Day weekend and just the weekend in general, the Angels Marlins series, me and Spaz, we thought maybe we could pull 2 out of 3. And then Callie said maybe 1 out of 3. They ended up getting the sweep. I wasn't expecting that. Felt great. And then we went over here. We welcomed the Padres to Miami. That one, I think everybody more or less thought, okay, maybe we could take 2 out of that one. And that one we lost 1-2. But all in all, 4-2 over the last 2 series. What are your main takeaways, Chris? I'm Chris. Sorry, I was just recording a different podcast. What are your main takeaways, Callie, from the last 2 series?
Oh man, we kind of kept the trend up, on the road against the Angels. We were hitting the ball hard, man. We had a lot of very good at bats against the Angels. Pitching held up enough that Saturday game got a little hairy, but man, our pitchers did enough. What was it, 16 runs in 3 games. Gotta love that. A lot of home runs. Doing the job, man. Like I was impressed with the way we played. I think the Angel series was maybe our best offensively that we've had this year so far. Felt like a lot of guys hitting the ball hard, even guys in the bottom of the order. So Segura, Stallings, Fortes, those type of guys were all having great at bats too. So I'm a fan. I loved it. And then for the Padres series, I mean, we knew that was going to be a tough one. The Padres, though they have been kind of underperforming, they're still a team that hits. That Wednesday game, it felt like that was one we should have won. Or the Wednesday game we won. The Tuesday one, I'm sorry. It felt one like we were in there and then we kind of let it fall apart. And then yesterday, or earlier today, it was an absolute disaster.
Well, when it comes to the Angel series on, I think the biggest game right there on Saturday against Ohtani, I think that was the one game where I said, we're going to lose this game. Like,
yes.
Just right off the bat, I thought we were going to lose that game. And I want to say it was the very first at bat where Jonathan Davis, I think he had a slow roller over to Ohtani, and Ohtani misplayed it, threw it past the first baseman. It was an error. Davis made it to second base, and then that runner ended up scoring. And after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe we got a chance for the game to start the way it did, and then the way it ended, or not even ended. I think was it Floro in the bottom of the ninth? We had Ohtani up to bat, Trout up to bat, and he somehow got out of that in the bottom of the ninth, and we still got that W. I think that Saturday win was a huge win, the way we kind of did that without Puck in the ninth. And then that Padres series, kind of what it was tough because we thought that first game in the ninth inning, we were tied going into the ninth, and then all of a sudden the Padres just ran up to score. That was rough. So it's like good floor on Saturday and then bad floor on Tuesday. We need some consistency, but that is what it is. We still 4-2 in those 6 games. Spaz, takeaways from the last 2 series.
No, I mean, so I just started correcting. It was a Friday. The Ohtani game was on Friday. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the Friday game with Ohtani, like I figured that was the hump. That was like the speed bump. So when we started cruising, I was very excited. My boy DLC had 4 hits, I believe, 2 or 3 RBIs. So I mean, and he's been super hot. So once we started doing that, and then getting his pitch count up, getting some hits, getting some runs in, and then he wasn't doing much at bat. So that was a nice way to start the series. And then the Padres game, I met up with one of our guys from Inter Miami on Tuesday, because that was Sandy Day.
Yeah, it was Sandy Day that I couldn't make it because I had graduation to attend. So
yes, you had work stuff.
Yeah, I had work stuff, so I gave it to our boy Andy, who's a Padres fan.
Yeah, that's true. But I will say, for a Tuesday crowd, Sandy Day, it was a fucking nice crowd out there. For some reason, Padres travel well, but there was a lot of them, but including Andy, our homeboy. But yeah, that loss sucked. I think I was talking to him. It was like the 8th inning, and then I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm out. We just had an issue with they did not respect Stallings at all. Like they just kept running on Stallings, and we're just making mistakes, or just they're getting the base at second base, and that's it. They just capitalized from there. They were just spitting in his face, and I understand it, dude. Like we have to sit that guy, send him into the sun. Like we can't keep doing that, even on Sandy Day. So, and then today fucking sucked. We had to have Stallings come in, and we have a position pitcher pitching, which is fun when other teams do it, not mine.
Well, I mean, you're talking about Stallings and how poorly he's played. Nick Fortes has been coming up clutch.
Yes,
I'm very happy with Fortes.
I saw something. He's like quadrupled his extra base hit total in like the last week and a half or something like that.
Well, and I think it was the first game against the Angels. We had the bases loaded. He's up to bat. If that's stalling, I'm expecting a double play ball. But he got the hit. He got the runs home. Like this kid is coming up clutch. And then he had that home run. Not the home run. I'm sorry. The walk-off hit. Just what was it? Was it Tuesday? So
yeah.
Wednesday. That was Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That was yesterday.
So So Nick Fortes, we need Sandy's got to figure out a way to get comfortable with this guy. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but we need a lot more of him and a lot less of Stallings.
I agree. Everyone on Twitter is like, fire him into the sun, and I'm like, yeah, fucking just probably a nice guy, a good guy to have in the locker room, but nah, dude, I'm tired of it. Fuck that.
Callie, your boy Braxton. What are you thinking of Braxton? He was balling, and then he got pulled in the 6th inning. I thought a little early. It was 79 pitches in. I thought he was dealing, but he keeps getting pulled early. What are you thinking of Braxton?
I think Braxton continues to be maybe our most consistent pitcher.
Agreed.
His line the other day was staggering. What was it 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run on the home run? I think he had like 8 strikeouts or something like that. It happens. Maybe Skip thought his pitch count is just getting high, or he's he doesn't want to get him too deep into the season. I don't know, because the one inconsistency I think Skip has is kind of how much he lets pitchers ride. It always feels like he either lets them ride too much or he pulls them like an inning too soon.
Yeah.
So
well,
maybe
with Braxton, it's the 3rd time around the lineup that he just doesn't want him to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the analytics don't favor him 3 times around the lineup. I know they have access to that in a way that we don't.
Right.
But yeah, Braxton's been great, man. I have no complaints about him. His stuff is working great. He's a kid that I think he's established himself as one of the 5 when everyone's healthy, because I don't know who's better than him right now. At least from top to bottom from the start till now. It's great. I'm really, really high on him. We need him to keep doing that, because especially if Sandy's kind of still, he's, is kind of in his ebbs and flows. Jesus Luzardo, we know, is in his ebbs and flow. We don't know who we're getting whenever Cabrera whenever Cabrera pitches. So to have the consistency of Garrett throwing every 5 days is massive for us. That's a guy that we need to keep riding, and I think I think we need to enjoy it while it's happening, because consistency like this doesn't last forever usually.
When we talk about the 5 main pitchers at the moment, right? We're talking Sandy, Cabrera, Braxton, Luzardo, and Perez. Those are the 5.
Yeah.
Now, outside of Perez, the other 4 have started 11. Well, Luzardo now 12 with today's start, but they basically started just about the same amount of games. If I were to ask you, who do you think in those 11 games, because they've all started 11 and Luzardo 12, who's allowed the least amount of hits? Who do you think it would be?
I think it's our boy Braxton, right?
No, that's not Braxton. I'm gonna say Cabrera.
Yep, Eduardo Cabrera has allowed the least amount of hits. Now, if I were to ask you, who's allowed the least amount of runs?
I'm gonna go with Braxton.
Is it Braxton?
It is Braxton.
I was gonna say Braxton, but then I think about that one game against the Braves where they hit they put up 9 on him or something.
Well, they let him out to die, really.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that makes sense.
Least amount of home runs.
At least it's definitely not Braxton.
No, definitely not Braxton.
I mean, I'll say Sandy, because he gets hit hard, but it's not.
Is it Sandy?
It is Sandy. He has the least amount of home runs out of those 4. The least amount of walks. And I'm gonna throw one out there. Not Cabrera. That's what I was gonna say. Not Cabrera.
Least amount of walks. I say Braxton.
It is Braxton. Okay. And then the most strikeouts. And this was, go ahead. The most strikeouts.
Cabrera.
Not Cabrera. Surprisingly, I thought it was Cabrera also. The most strikeouts is Luzardo with 78. And Cabrera second with 66. So all of those numbers more or less surprised me, because I thought Sandy would be leading in a lot of those categories. But Sandy's just been off of it. Sandy has allowed the most runs out of all the pitchers. And I think it's by far. He's allowed 40 runs. The next highest is Luzardo. And after today, he's played an extra game. So it's rough. Sandy's had a rough go so far this year.
Yeah, I think with the rule changes, and I think I touched on this last episode, I think that it favors hitters in a way that if you're a fastball dominant guy, it's gonna be a little tougher, because again, we can get timing down. You know when the pitcher has to engage. By when he has to go to the plate. So if you're sitting dead red fastball, it's a little easier to get the barrel out and put something on it. And Sandy's very much a fastball guy. But it's still, to me, it's not an excuse because you have to adjust. You make a lot of money, and you're a professional baseball player. Figure it the fuck out. I'm not gonna say I'm out on Sandy because I'm far from that, but we're getting to a point now that he's got to make some adjustments. Things got to change because the trend with Sandy, and I think we've mentioned this before, is that he starts off great, innings, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are great, and then we get to 5 or so, and then that ball starts leaving up, he starts getting left up. The slider starts getting left up. The two seam is running up by the hands, and it's all those pitches become very, very hittable. So I don't know what the answer is. Unfortunately with Sandy, that's really upsetting. We do have a lot, other guys like Luzardo, despite having a couple rough starts, I think he's been pretty good for us. He's been about what we expect. Garrett clearly overperforming. Yuri has been good for being a 20-year-old fucking kid and playing Major League Baseball. And then Cabrera, again, it's Russian roulette, just who are we getting on what day. But Sandy's the cog in our pitching staff. If he's not good, we're not good.
For sure. And he's averaging about 6 and 2/3 innings per start. So that's what he's averaging every time he starts. He's pitched 69.1 innings pitched. That's 7th most in the National League. You gonna say, Spaz?
Yeah, no. So kind of just to go back to what Kelly was saying about Braxton and the whole, once it gets to the third batters and all that. Yeah, dude, aren't Sandy's numbers fucking awful when it comes to the third time around?
Well, compared to last year, he's doing much worse for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand why Braxton's getting pulled early, and maybe they're keeping his innings down or whatever it is, the pitches down, or maybe there's a fear of injury. We don't know what happens on the clubhouse. But fuck, I mean, one day I wouldn't mind pulling fucking Sandy early. I know he can throw 150 pitches if we let him. I don't want him to do that anymore.
No, that's not. He shouldn't.
Don't Johan Santana it. No.
No, but you know what I'm saying? He can easily throw 105 pitches, no problem. I don't want him to do that anymore. That's not. Yeah. And unfortunately, our fucking bullpen has been, working hard, and we don't have Puck, and we're relying on some of these guys that are, they're not pulling through as much.
Well, Puck is working his way back, and another person is working their way back is Trevor Rogers.
Yeah.
Now, Spaz, where does Trevor Rogers fit? Do you think he's gonna crack the starting 5 rotation again, or would you leave him down in AAA for a while?
That's tough, dude. That's one guy that I was really hoping was gonna be just an animal for a long time to come, and obviously we know what happened after the sticky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind sending Cabrera down. I mean, not Cabrera. El otro.
Yuri?
Yeah, send Yuri down. Switch him up for a second and see what happens. Just because we never know who we're going to get with Yuri. So give Trevor a couple starts and see what happens.
I love Yuri. I don't want Yuri to go anywhere.
Yeah, so my theory is, and it's kind of what I mentioned, that Yuri was always going to be the stopgap until Trevor Rogers comes back. And while I think Yuri's good, you have to remember, at the end of the day, especially for the Marlins, it's a money game. And the Marlins are going to exhaust every single option they have on all those young guys as quickly. They're going to try and hold on to as many of those options as they can. So it would make sense for them to send Yuri down and then keep Rogers up, which is fine because you can bring Yuri up later again. I think what we've learned is that we can trust Yuri in the bigs. I don't think they send Cabrera down, unfortunately. Although, me as a baseball, we're talking purely baseball, I think he's the odd man out here. And you guys also know I'm a big Rogers guy. I love Trevor Rogers. I love our white boy lefties from the West. But yeah, I think unfortunately Yuri would be the odd man out just because he is still young and he can still pitch a lot. He can get a lot of meaningful innings in the minors. And then you don't want to give him too much too soon. You don't want him stretching out into the dog days of summer for meaningless games against, the Royals and stuff. If anything, we send him down, we call him back up. Okay, now we're around 500. We're competing for a playoff spot. Now that Yuri's a guy that can come up and he can replace somebody that's hurt, or Even stretch it out to like a 6-man in the rotation, like like those weird weekday starts, or someone has to skip a start type of thing. Like Yuri could be that guy too. So
I would like that, to be honest. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's my thought. That's just from like a baseball business perspective.
But as the Marlins operate, I think you're completely right. Like they would, money wise and business wise, they're like, yeah, no, send them down and bring on fucking Trevor Rogers because he's our fucking major league pitcher.
Yeah, and Rogers is also a first round pick of yours. Like you want that guy. He's making first round money. You want that guy on the bump and getting as many opportunities as he can.
Which is why, unfortunately, fucking Avi will probably have a spot whenever that happens.
Yeah, because he's the highest paid fucking guy on our roster.
Exactly.
So as soon as he's healthy and back, that motherfucker's gonna be standing in right field like a come mierda.
And I want to get onto right field in a second, but with this Trevor Rogers thing, I would leave him in AAA, or I'd bring him on as a long reliever. If I was gonna take somebody out of the rotation right now, it would be Cabrera. I think Yuri has played very well. I wouldn't want to see him get taken out. I was comparing his first 4 starts to Sandy's first 4 starts, pro first starts as a starting pitcher. Sandy was 22, Yuri is 20. They were both 2-1 record wise. Sandy pitched 23 innings, and Yuri has pitched 19 innings. In those 4 starts, Sandy allowed 18 hits and 6 earned runs. Yuri's allowed 13 hits and 6 earned runs. Sandy, 17 Ks. Yuri, 19 Ks. Sandy walked 16 batters. Yuri's only walked 10 batters. Yuri's putting up some serious numbers in his first 4 starts at the age of 20. Now, I get you. I don't think it would hurt him to go back down to AAA, for example, and keep, perfecting his craft, I guess you could say. But if he's going to keep performing the way he is, I don't want to see him go anywhere. And I'm okay with Trevor Rogers being a long reliever or just staying in AAA. Or if anybody's going to move, I would move Cabrera.
Yeah, I would too. From a baseball perspective, like I mentioned, I think Cabrera's the odd man out. It's just unfortunately, like especially with the Marlins, they count every penny. So I think they're gonna just, they're gonna use the option and send Yuri back down, which I think was always the plan, anyways.
You said that when he first came up. You said that that's what you figured was going to happen.
Yeah,
but I didn't expect him to look as good as he has.
Yeah. I think everyone's a little surprised. Now, I think projectability wise, I think Yuri's ceiling is probably going to be higher than Sandy's. Yeah. Just the way he throws, the way he composes, and not to say that Sandy doesn't compose himself well. He's a very mild-mannered person. I guess they're more similar in that regard. But whereas Sandy, everything looks a little more methodical and kind of like you can tell he's practiced and worked on this a lot. With Yuri, it's a lot more like Jose in the sense that like he's just got it. He's just got that it. Like you don't know what it is, but it's like, to quote Bull Durham, like you were born and the God put a thunderbolt in your right arm. Like that's kind of what happened with Yuri. He's just
like Bull Durham, huh?
It's my favorite movie of all time. Like we can have an episode dedicated.
Baseball movie.
I've never watched it.
Oh my god!
My God, Danny, Jesus,
go watch it. Watch it. Look, he brings it up so much. I
think I brought it up every episode, to be honest.
After this episode is over, after the Heat game's over, also, I am gonna put that on. I need to find out where the streaming because I have to watch this movie.
Callie always brings up the baseball things, and I'm just like, Susan Sarandon and Tim Robbins met, and they fell in love,
and they got married. And like, come on, like it's a great story. But
watch this.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. One of Kevin Costner's best roles, period. But anyway, it's for me, Yuri kind of has that Jose factor that you just see him and like there's something about him. Yeah, that's really special. Whereas Sandy, again, is very methodical. He's very composed, very organized, very orchestrated, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Like Sandy's a fucking pro in that regard. But Yuri's kind of like that young and dumb. Like I'm gonna go after the best and the baddest. Like I'm not fucking scared of anybody. And you might hit a bomb off me, but I'm gonna reset and I'm gonna come back. Where again Sandy's. Just kind of works through. You can see him kind of trying to hit that perfect spot, trying to overdo it on a slider, trying to come high and tight on a 2-seam type of thing. Whereas you're just like, all right, you're calling what you're calling. I'm just gonna let it rip, and we're gonna see what happens. Which I love. So,
well, that Skip has a decision to make for sure.
Which is a great problem to have.
for sure. But I really do hope that Yuri stays up there because I really like it, and I haven't had a chance to see him live yet. So I gotta at least see him live first before he gets back down. Or we
It's
can make a drive to Jacksonville.
Very, very, very cool to see him.
I'm not opposed. Summertime, baby. I'm free.
All right, so let's move on to the other side of the ball. I wanted to talk about Gene Segura. Gene Segura. I wish Branton was on here because Branton loves some Gene
That's his
Segura.
boy.
Brandon needs to be leading the Gene Segura apology tour.
So on Wednesday, in the bottom of the ninth, he had that steal that came out of completely left field for me because I was not expecting that. That boy is thick. I was not expecting him to steal
Thick
third the
with
way
two
he did.
C's.
Mm-hmm.
But he got it done, and one other thing is he had, to me, one of my favorite bat flips I think I've ever seen in my life. Now I don't know if you guys caught this in the Angel series, and if you didn't, I am going to play it right now for those of you on YouTube. If you're on audio, I apologize. You can catch it on YouTube. I'm going to play this bat flip right quick.
Love it. He walking somebody to get to me.
Look
Okay,
at that.
I got something for you. I don't think I've ever seen.
What is that?
It's not just a bat flip either. It's a bat flip with the skip.
With the skip, like I don't know what he was thinking, but I love it.
I
love it, and in my mind, he was just throwing that at Branton. Branton's somewhere in Orlando. I'm in Anaheim, Disneyland, Disney World. It all works, and I feel like that was directed directly at Branton.
Yeah, it's one of the more egregious bat flips, like comparable to like the Joey Bats like walk off where he put the bat fucking 100 feet in the air too. That was kind of an iconic moment. But I love it, man. I am all about the fucking bat flips.
But that was like a single though. Like who flips their bat like that in a single?
I'm here for
a guy that's hitting 200, bro.
I'm here for it.
He's like, fuck, I contributed finally. Let me fucking celebrate this moment.
That was something. But hey, look, I rather that than I don't know if you guys have seen Josh Donaldson. You could look up his highlight reel of all the bat flips that he has on would-be home runs, and they just missed by this much, and they're all pop-ups. And he flips that bat, and it's a really embarrassing highlight video, but you can catch that if you're listening. Go ahead, YouTube. Josh Donaldson failed bat flips. It's a long video. But Gene Segura playing much better. Love to see that. And Luis Ariz is on pace for 208 hits. Now, the boy keeps balling. But my question is, what is more likely? Luis Ariz getting the 200 hits or Cali's boy Solar Power and Lightning getting to 50 home runs? Because at the moment, Solar is on pace for 49 home runs and 101 RBIs. Which one do you guys think is more likely? Spaz, which one do you think is more likely?
It's got to be the hits. It's got to be Luis Ariz.
You think so?
Yeah, man. That's
okay.
He can't. I mean, he is so fun to watch, and like when he's on base, I mean, when he's at the plate, like we're getting a fucking hit here, And when he does it, I'm like, how the fuck did that not happen? But yeah, no, I think it's got to be that. I do love a solar bomb. That is a whole lot of fun. But realistically, I think it's Ariz.
Did you see that bad boy shirt?
I need it so bad. I need it like I need oxygen.
First of all, like, well, they raffled one to like one fan, but I'm like, I don't know how like the copyright goes or any of that shit goes. But if they sold some of these shirts at the park, they would sell like crazy. Like
well,
if
they could sell it if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
we
how that
couldn't,
works, but they don't. I would buy that shirt in a second. Really, really fucking cool shirt. Yeah.
And by the way, Luis Ariz is leading the league in average, like we kind of knew he would, 382. So, Cali, more likely, Solar 50 or Ariz 200.
So I'm gonna say that it's easier to hit 50 home runs than it is to get 200 hits. Just because you can be in a slump again, you can be a 210.
Not if you're Ichiro.
Yeah,
that's true.
But you can be a 210, 220 hitter and hit 50 bombs conceivably. We see that all the time. We see it all year, and that we may see George Solar have a 240 year with 50, 55 bombs at 110 RBIs, and I take that 9 times out of 10.
Well, it's funny you say that. Over the last week, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but over the last week, I think everybody would say over the last two series, Solar had a pretty good series.
Yeah.
Over the last series, he batted like 111.
Yeah, but that
was like 8 or 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, but then he hits that bomb and we all forget about it. Yeah, right now Solar's hitting 249, 17 bombs, 35 RBI. He's leading in almost every category, I think, except average and hits for us.
Yep.
And even then, hitting 249, he's 4th on our team in average, which is not good. But he's 3rd on our team in hits. Let's see. He's 3rd in doubles.
And after today's game, he went up to 143 average. So over the last 2 series, it was 143. Before today, it was 111.
Yeah, he's leading in RBI. I think he's leading in the walks too. Yeah, he's leading in the walks. So here's the thing: you can go in a slump, and you can still run into home runs, like you just mentioned. George Soler hitting $111, but he hit 4 or 5 bombs in the last couple of weeks, in the last 2 weeks or so. Whereas Arise, we're seeing him have an astronomical season right now, man. But the fact of the matter is, let's see, Arise right now is hitting 382. Arise isn't finishing the season hitting 382. And if he does, I will eat the crow live on stream. Like if that motherfucker finishes, you're hitting 382.
What exactly is crow, so I can make sure I have it?
It's a fucking bird, dude. But
okay, that's why I wasn't sure, so I want to make sure. Okay, got it.
I won't actually eat crow because I'm pretty sure that has like disease and shit, but we'll figure it out. But 73 hits on the year, to get to 200, I mean, we're what? We are, about to get to 60 games. I mean, it's conceivable. It's certainly conceivable for him to do it. But again, he's going to go on slumps. He's gonna taper off. The law of averages is going to set in eventually. Whereas again, Soler can keep hitting 249, 240. And hit 50 bombs, and it's not a crazy thing to think about. Yeah. If you think about it, he's at 17 bombs. He's almost halfway there already, and we have plenty of season left.
He had one hell of a month though, because in the month of May, he had 12 home runs.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That was hot. Now that's why I lean a little more towards what Spaz said, because I don't know if he can keep that streak going.
Yeah, that's insane.
Before May, he only had 5 home runs for that first month and a week or so. And then he just went crazy over the month of May. I don't know if he's going to keep that going. I mean, and actually, now that I think about it, the month of May, he had 12 home runs, 25 RBIs. He batted 283. Is it conceivable to think that he could win Player of the Month?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So if he were to say hypothetically win Player of the Month, I think we all feel that Arise should have won it in April. You technically have the best player in April and the best player in May on this team. There's a reason why we're just slightly over 500, even though Sandy and Luzardo haven't necessarily been the aces that we expect them to be. So, I mean, look, all good problems, all good things.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, for me, it's like 200 hits is wild. Like, to me, that's a wild. Like, to me, 200 hits is like a little crazier than 50 home runs, because you have to do that through 162 games. You have to average more than a hit a game. That's hard to do. Whereas, again, Soler just has to find barrel. What do we have to hit 50? We're at 17. I'm not the math guy, but Soler just has to run into contact. What is it, 33 more times? Just run into, and he squares the ball up every time. He's the guy that's going to strike out or he's going to hit it hard. Those are the two options. Right. He's not exactly a guy that just rolls over to shortstop. He's a guy that's either going to smoke a line drive or a mile high pop up, or he's going to hit it out of the yard, or he's going to strike out, and he's going to strike out a lot. But to me, it's more conceivable that Soler even just gets lucky 33 more times this year, whereas Arise has to get 200 and 230 more hits.
I mean, we could put
or 130 more hits.
Let's put some money on it.
What money would you like to put, Spaz?
A $30 friendly bet.
I bet you my Inter Miami season tickets. You could fucking have them.
Get them up for me. Go ahead, Danny.
No, I was gonna say, and I was gonna do the math real quick, but Luis Arise led the league, the American League, in batting average last year with 316, and he only got 173 hits. But what I'm wondering is that he only played 144 games.
There you go, baby.
So So if he stays healthy, would he have gotten it? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, but even if he stays healthy, he's gonna have days off. Like, so let's turn that.
He's missed 6 games so far. 6 games, 5 games. He's missed 5 games so far this season.
Yeah,
so he's missed 5 games in the first 56. So
Yeah,
he might miss 15 games in the year.
Yeah, so I mean, it becomes a little more conceivable that way. But again, that's the idea that he just doesn't get hurt. He doesn't take an extra night off for a hammy or an ankle or something like that. A bruised shin, slid weird type of thing. It's asking for a lot. That's just my opinion.
No, it is. It is. It is. It is.
And we see guys hit 50 home runs a lot, not a lot, but pretty often. And especially with the way the game's tailored now, like 50 home runs just doesn't seem crazy to me. Whereas 200 hits, like, man, that's a big ask. Like,
if Soler gets anywhere near those 50 home runs, is he a Marlin next year?
I would hope so. We trade him or something. I don't know. It's a scary thought.
It just depends where our numbers are. Again, it always depends on where.
Soler also won't be super expensive, I don't think, because he's a power hitting righty that plays okay. Outfield.
Yeah, but if you put him on a team that has men on base,
and he's also 31. Like, he's not a young chicken anymore either.
Yeah, but I hate that shit because remember starting Marte, we didn't sign him because he was 33, and then he went to the Mets and became, he was an all-star and just fucking hitting over there. Like,
I'm not mad at that though, man. Like, does Starling Marte make a huge difference on this team? Like, I don't think so.
Look, he has 1 year left on his deal after this year, but it's a player option. And if he were to opt in, which he won't, if he's gonna get close to 50 home runs, he's gonna get paid. But he's due $9 million. But he's gonna opt out, so he's basically a free agent next year.
Well, also George Soler.
You could extend him.
Even before George Soler was in the Marlins, he lives down here. Like, he's Cuban. His family's down here, so it's not crazy to think that
the hometown discount.
Not even the hometown discount. Like, he picks up the option and he sticks around, and then at 33, he's like, okay, now you kind of have a decision to make. Like, at 33, the type of player he is, unless he has like some sort of like Nelly Cruz type of, just like, hey, I'm just gonna make a career hitting DH and hitting 35 bombs a year type of thing. You can ride that out for a little bit, but I don't think it's crazy to think that a guy like Soler would want to stick around, considering he's always lived down here. His whole family's here. You're making $9 million, bro. At your age, with the type of player you are, like, that's not insane.
I mean, most players want to be here. Like, who was a player we missed out on that wanted
Castellanos.
to come?
Castellanos.
We signed Soler because we didn't want to pay Castellanos.
Right. We just don't have the money. We're broke boys. We don't have the money for all that. But people want to be here.
Yeah, we've seen it before. As like, quite frankly, as like a rich athlete, especially if you're young, like, you make a lot of money. You live in a place like Miami, which is only enjoyable if you have a lot of money. You don't get a state income tax or anything like that. Like, if I'm an athlete, I want to fucking live in Miami too, but I'm a teacher, so I'm a broke boy, so I can't afford to fucking live here. But, so, and we see it with the Heat and the Dolphins and stuff, that we always have a superstar, someone that's coming in and wants to be around. But at baseball, with the Marlins, that doesn't happen, despite us having opportunities to bring guys in here, because we won't fucking pay anybody. Like, Manny Ramirez wanted to come here. We were working out a trade, but we just didn't want to fucking pay his salary. And the Dodgers said, "Oh, we'll fucking take it." And there it is. Guys want to be here, but we just don't pay guys to be here.
Soler signed 3 years, 36. Nick Castellanos signed 5 years, 100 mil. So that was the difference.
We took discount. But who's having the better year right now?
I'm going to just go on a limb and say Soler, but I haven't looked at the numbers for Castellanos. All right, so since we're talking about Soler, been seeing him a lot at right field. Not a fan. Not a fan of him out in right field. He hasn't looked necessarily great. Spaz, what do you think of Soler out in right field?
I think he can keep getting away with murder if he's going to be slamming the ball like that. It gives him a longer leash.
So I was talking shit. Nick Castellanos hitting 290 right now, but he only has 5 bombs. So, Take that how you will.
I'll take the 18 bombs. 17.
And the discount.
What do you think? And the discount. What do you think about Solar out in right field, Cali?
He's not great in the outfield, but that's not what you're paying him for. I think whenever we have a fully healthy outfield, these guys going to DH more often than not. And I think we've seen that too. Like I think that's evidenced in how like it feels like Solar only plays right field when he has to, and it feels like he DHs more often than he doesn't, which is fine by me. Like
he's mainly been DH.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to kind of hide him in right field, and in the right park it won't be insane. Like right field in Marlins Park is pretty manageable. There's nothing crazy. It's not like you don't have like a Boston pesky pole or that weird wall in right field like a Petco or anything like that. It's pretty standard dimensions. Like anybody with a pulse can kind of play right field. You don't have like super deep gaps like left center in Marlins Park or anything that like Jazz or De La Cruz or anybody would have to deal with. So, it's fine in the right park in the right circumstance. Lefty heavy lineups that with a guy throwing hard. You can put him right field. He's probably not going to see too much action those type of games. So, it's fine. We're going to see him DH more often than not.
All right. Well, when he was playing right field, I think it was Cooper that was playing DH. So we have Cooper and Gurriel at first base. Right now, if you had to pick, who would you prefer to see consistently at first base? Gurriel or Cooper?
I mean, in those platoon situations, you go with the hot bat, and Gurriel's a hot bat right now, man. Well, Gurriel's
Cooper's not looking too good recently.
No, man, he hasn't really bounced back great from his injury. Right now, Gurriel's hitting 273. His OPS is 746. That's solid. Cooper's OPS is 665, hitting only 235. Coop still has the home run numbers, but I mean, they have the same amount of hits, but Coop has 21 more at bats. So, Coop has a ton of strikeouts, where Gurriel isn't a guy that strikes out a lot. So for me right now, Gurriel's our guy, but
you said it earlier. I mean, you go with the hotter bat no matter what's going on, and Gurriel has been kind of trying to fight for his spot. So I'm okay with leaving him on there. As much as I love Cooper, I'm a Cooper guy. White chocolate, fucking love him, but you got to go with Gurriel, man. He's been doing his job.
And Jesus Sanchez is supposed to be back soon. So Sanchez comes back, so he goes to right field. Does Jonathan Davis lose his job once Jazz comes back? I mean, I think he's looked good defensively.
Yeah, but he's gonna lose. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Davis he's not a long-term solution by any stretch. He'll probably stick around and be a bench guy. I think he's a solid bench guy to have. He's been pretty good with us, which is great. That's all you want. I don't think you trade a prospect like Brady Allen and then DFA him after Jazz and all these guys come back. I think because they traded for a guy like him, someone's probably going to be out a lot longer than maybe we anticipated. Maybe that's Jazz, maybe that's Avi, who knows? I think Sanchez isn't too far away from what I was seeing on Twitter, but he's not a bad guy to have around, especially since like a guy like Garrett Hampson's kind of like tapered off in terms of production and stuff like that. I just don't think they make that trade and then DFA him, or because he's 32 years old. They're not sending him to the minors or anything like that. Like
I said, defensively, I think he's looked great. And in the 8 games he's played, he's batting .308, on base percentage of 400, OPS 900. He's walked 4 times. He has a home run, a triple, an RBI. I mean, I think solid production, because when he came over here, everybody assumed that with the bat, he was just going to be just a hole in the lineup, and he's been pretty decent. And then again, defensively, much better than what Garrett Hampson was giving us over there in center field.
So people have been waiting for him to fail because I think they see his career numbers, and I absolutely love that he's been fucking shutting everyone up. So I would like to keep him around. Hopefully there's a spot for him. But now when some people start coming back, unfortunately, he's not going to be on the starting lineup. But we'll see. I have enjoyed him being around though. So
Brian De La Cruz is batting 295 now. He's almost at 300.
mm-hmm.
He is on fire.
Yep.
Now, I go ahead.
He's been our best hitter, not named Luis Ariz, like
He
without
has.
question.
Yeah.
Over the last week, he's batting 333, 8 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, OPS of 990. Like, he's on fire. Hopefully, he can keep this going, especially with the opposition that we have coming up the next 2 series. I think we have a good shot of keeping our bats going. But before we get into that, I did have one more thing I wanted to bring up now that we brought up Brian De La Cruz. Obviously, with Jazz out, we've been playing with the leadoff spot. If you could choose one person to consistently lead off, who would it be? Brian De La Cruz has been doing it recently. I think he's done a pretty good job of it. I'll go to you first, Callie. Who would you have leading off?
I mean, taking Jazz out of the equation, I don't think there's a wrong answer between basically the 2 guys that are our options. Between Ariz and De La Cruz. I would probably lean Ariz as the leadoff guy just because De La Cruz can definitely hit for power more than Ariz. So you get a guy like Ariz on base, you want a guy like De La Cruz behind him at some point that can put a ball in a gap or get it over a wall and bring in more runs. I always want my guys who can hit the ball over the fence hitting with guys that are on base. De La Cruz right now has 7 bombs, so he's not exactly tearing down light poles and stuff like that. But he's and but he's second on our team in RBIs. Like that's a guy I want hitting with, and he doesn't walk a lot either. So that's also kind of that's in my consideration. He only has 16 walks on the year. So yeah, I'd probably lead off with Ariz, and then I love them hitting Solar second. Sometimes
with Ariz behind them because they know Ariz is probably gonna get a hit, so you can't pitch around Solar. He's been seeing a lot of pitches in the strike zone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with Skip. I don't think there's a wrong way to do it, but I love the combination of either Ariz Solar De La Cruz or De La Cruz Solar Ariz. And now that we're saying it out loud, De La Cruz makes a little more sense just because that Ariz has a consistency to get these guys in. Ariz is he's not going to strike out a lot. He's going to at least put the ball in play. So
it's a small sample size, but Brian De La Cruz has led off this year 3 times, and in those 3 games, on base percentage of 500.
Love that. Keep writing that. It's a game of numbers, baby. Keep running it.
Exactly. You get on base half the time with Solar batting behind you and then Ariz after him. Let's keep doing it because it's definitely working. The only other person with a high enough or a comparable on-base percentage leading off would be Ariz with 8 games started at leadoff, also on-base percentage of 500. So definitely one of those 2 guys, but I'm liking the De La Cruz, Solar, and Ariz lineup. Spaz.
No, I mean, numbers wise, you guys are my numbers guys. I'm not the numbers guy, but it seems super interchangeable. You can go either or. I do prefer Ariz at first, and then De La Cruz, second or whatever. Solar that 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I mean, it seems like either of them could really just go in there and do the job. So, but
it seems our bats have woken up. Like we've been hitting over. I mean, I know today was kind of rough, but for the most part, we have been hitting, and that wasn't supposed to be our strong suit, but I feel like we were looking pretty good with the stick.
Yeah, I think the upset of the year for me is our lineup being pretty consistent, if anything. Like scoring runs doesn't seem to be the issue for us. I honestly, defense hasn't been great, and I think that's a huge part of it. And our rotation hasn't been as consistent as we thought it was going to be. So I think those are kind of the factors that we're kind of playing with here.
I think our biggest issue is double play.
Yeah, dude.
Grounding into double plays, I think it's our biggest issue, if you ask me.
Because we're getting hits. We're 4th in the National League in hits. fourth in average. Like we're getting hits. It's just hitting into those double play balls. When we do get those outs, it kills the runners on base.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the Oakland A's, the worst team in the league, and the Kansas City Royals, probably the second worst team in the league, coming up. Both at home. If a team is doing bad and they're on a slump, the Oakland A's is who you want to see on the schedule. The Yankees were at one point last in their division. They had a 4-game series against the Oakland A's, beat them up, and started rolling. And that's just how we do it. And the Marlins not only have the benefit of the A's at home, but then to follow it up with the Royals, this is the moment where you make some breathing room between you and that 500 line. You have to win at least 5 of these games. 4, I think 4 should be worst case scenario. Has to be 4-2, 5-1, 6-0. Sometimes a pipe dream because it's hard to sweep series, but you gotta come out strong in here. So I guess it's prediction time. So I'll start with you, Spaz. You know I like to start with you because you're Mr. Positive. What are you thinking about the next 6? A's, Royals at home.
Shit is bleak if I'm Mr. Positive. Dude, the A's just took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. So, like, as much as I want to kick their ass and all that, like, that's nothing to, it's nothing to, like, turn away from. But I'm going to go with a sweep of the A's, and the Royals, we take 2 out of 3. Sweep the A's, 2 out of 3 on the Royals. Book it.
I'll go with 5-1. 5-1. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, go 5-1.
What are you thinking, Cali?
All right. So where did I just have this? Come on, Cal. All right. So the Marlins have the second worst run differential in the National League.
I'm proud of it.
At -54. All right. The second worst in the National League. Oakland A's have the worst run differential in baseball by a significant, by 125 runs. They have a run differential of -195. The second worst run differential in baseball is the Kansas City Royals, the run differential of -70. All right. It is imperative that we dominate these 2 series. Like I'm okay with maybe not sweeping, though. I think we have to sweep one of them. The Oakland A's have the 4th most strikeouts in baseball with 535. They have the worst batting average in baseball. They're hitting 219 as a team. Kansas City Royals hitting 232 as a team. Oakland A's only have an OPS of 652. Kansas City Royals only have an OPS of 681. Power numbers, they're, let's see. They are both better than us. The Kansas City Royals have 56 home runs. We have 54 for comparison. Oakland A's have 57. So not a lot of power numbers either. The separation is definitely going to be that their teams that they don't hit for average. They're not going to get a lot of guys on base. They're not going to hit for power. None of them have really very good pitching. Couple bats for Kansas City, I'd say, in like Bobby Witt and Pasquantino. But man, we have to sweep one. We have to take at least 2 from the other. I mean, it's easy to look at the A's and say we're going to sweep that with their run differential and how the numbers line up. I think we have potential to sweep both of them. I genuinely believe that. I'm not going to go ahead and predict that. I'll probably say 5-1 too. We have to. Like this is where we can get some separation from 500. Like if we can look back at this time next week, and we're 30.
We're first place in the NL East. Yes.
Yeah, we're 34-29. Like, we're cooking, baby. We're cooking in June.
The Marlins have the A's and the Royals coming up, the worst 2 teams in all of the major leagues. And the Braves have a game against the Diamondbacks, who I believe have the same record as the Braves. and then they have a series against the Mets, which always play them tough. It's conceivable to think that if we can go 5-1 or 6-0 against these two bad teams, that when we're recording next week on June 8th, that we're talking about the NL East leading Marlins.
And
It's
also
conceivable.
Yeah, I think it's also important to mention, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, that our next 3 series after the A's and the Royals are the White Sox, the Mariners, and the Nationals. You know, aside from
The Mariners have been picking it up.
yeah, but again, not great pitching. They're very inconsistent. The White Sox aren't good. They're in a full rebuild. The Nationals aren't good. Then we run into a couple tough ones between the Blue Jays, the Pirates, and the Red Sox, but. This is a huge opportunity for us to have a great June and go into July. Flirting with the top of the division, at least creating some separation in our record so that we're not dancing right at 500 and we can get 5, 6, 7 games over that and finish off the month that way. That'd be massive for us.
Hey, and I'm not saying that we're gonna end the season NL East champs, but I'm saying, and nobody expected it before the season, that mid-June, all of a sudden, first place in the NL East, it's conceivable to think that the Marlins could be there if everything goes as planned. Spaz?
That's why I keep you guys around. You do the optimism, I do the pessimism. This all works out very, very well.
All right, well, to keep going, go ahead.
No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this series, and I can't wait to record next week already. Just see where we're at.
To keep going with the optimism, the A's have allowed by far the most home runs of any other team, 15 more than second place, which is the White Sox, which we play 2 series from them. Yeah. And then they've walked by far the most batters of anybody, which is, I want to say, 34 more than second place. The A's are atrocious. And when I mean atrocious, I mean atrocious.
The A's also have a team ERA of 6.63, and the Royals have a team ERA of 5.06.
Solar, I'm putting in now 3 bombs in the next 2 series. De La Cruz, 2 bombs. Arise is gonna go yard once. I'm feeling it now. I will tell you, there is one thing to look out for. The Oakland A's attempt to steal bases more than almost any team in the major leagues. Yeah, the only teams that attempt steals more are the Pirates and the Rays.
All right, so we can't start Stallings.
Well, and that's where I was gonna go. Our catchers will be tested because when they get on base, they do run. Only 2 teams have run. They've stolen 54 bases and they've gotten caught 14 times. Only the Rays and Pirates have attempted more steals, so they are aggressive on the bases. So that's something to look out for. When Jacob Stallings is out there and then Fortes, they will be tested. Their arms will be tested. But again, I don't think that's enough to worry me too much. I think that we take at least 5. I want to say 6, but I'll play it safe like both of you and say 5-1. We'll drop 1 either series. I would hope more to the Royals than to the A's because the A's we should just dominate. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else for the people, Callie and Spaz?
I think it's a great opportunity. This weekend especially, a lot of cool giveaways at the stadium. Get down there, man. It's a fun time to support the boys. It's encouraging. I was seeing during the Padres kind of a midweek series like that the attendance was good for
I noticed the same thing. Yeah.
For Marlins for a random couple weekdays in the end of May, I think it's great to see attendance kind of tapering up and looking good. So let's get it out there. Let's keep the energy. We're in very winnable games. It's a great opportunity this weekend to see the Marlins playing some really good baseball. So make sure you get out there and also support your local teams, man. It's Heat in the finals, losing right now, but it's all right. Panthers play tomorrow. Let's rally around the boys. We got to be fans of everyone these next couple weeks.
Spaz.
No, I totally agree. Everyone get out to the park. The giveaway is going to be awesome. The black and teal jersey on Sunday. They're going to add a few extra items to the museum, to the Marlins Museum because of Conine. So that's going to be pretty cool. They're giving away, I think, a Conine pin one of the days, which is pretty cool. So lots of cool giveaways. Support the boys, support the Heat, support the Panthers. And hopefully next week we're talking about 2 sweeps, but we're not gonna say 2 sweeps, but hopefully.
And thank you guys for listening on YouTube. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And for those listening on audio, 5 stars always helps. We appreciate you guys listening all the way to the end. And we will catch you next week when we're celebrating being first in the NL East. Until then, have a good one.